Hey everybody, so it's wake up and makeup. I decided I'm going to do it a little bit different, have a little bit of Q&A. I know that there have been some technical problems, or otherwise I would have done this already. So get your coffee, let's talk. And as you can see, I already have my foundation, concealer, eyebrows, because that is the most annoying thing to ever watch somebody do. I think it's boring. Yes, I know there are some of you that have requested an eyebrow tutorial, and that video may be kind of boring, but I'm not going to do that on camera today. So, and looking at it, the color that I've chosen is probably not the best color for me. It happens. It looked a little bit more brown on the website. It looked more brown than red. My hair is red-ish, brown-ish, whatever you want to call it at this point. So yeah, and okay. We'll just have to deal with that for today. I might darken it up a little bit here in a little while. But if my son was in here, he always giggles because I say when I get to this point in my makeup, I look like a naked mole rat, and of which he would giggle his little butt off. So we're just going to start from here where I've already got my base going on. I'm going to get ready. I'm going to answer some of the questions that you all have sent me. Please keep them coming. I do want you guys to get to know me, who you're getting content from, things like that. So anyways, how are you? Happy Friday. So I'm going to go ahead and start out with some bronzer because my paleness needs it. I'm going to start out with some of the basic questions as far as things that people asked about me, and then we'll just kind of go from there. Some of the questions were kind of deep, and that is completely okay, but I will get into those when I'm like all intense and in my eyeshadow and everything else. For now, I'm just going to bronze the face, and it's weird. It's translating different for me on my camera because I can see it than it looks in person. So I think it's the different lighting that I have. But anyways, starting out with the basic stuff. For those who don't know me, I'm Mally. I am 38. I'm originally from Utah. I moved to Tennessee about 16 years ago, and it's kind of become my home, but I still miss real mountains. Don't get me wrong, I like the Smokies for what they are, but and Keith always laughs every time that I say, oh, they're so cute, because you know, anyone who, especially if anyone from my home state watches this, you know, the Rockies, huge. And the Smokies are more like rolling hills. But I have 4 kids. Most of you only know my sons. Those of you who do know me, you only know my sons. My daughters moved to Florida with their dad several years ago. My oldest daughter is 19, and she is now a freshman at Florida State. My younger daughter is 17, and she is a senior at her high school. And she doesn't really talk to me much. Her sister does. Like, my 19-year-old talks to me a lot. She's my clone child. Anybody who has met my daughter, she looks just like me. Alright. I'm checking this mirror over here, make sure that we are all blended and good. I'm trying to figure out the best use for this brush. I kind of like it as a bronzer brush, but then again, kind of not. This is the Jeffree Star JS2. I actually used the JS1 for my foundation today. I'm going to list everything that I am wearing in the comments, but I learned a very valuable lesson. If any of you have any interest in this foundation, Brush, not sponge. I've had to learn that the hard way, not once, but twice, because, you know, I'm slow sometimes. But it's funny because I saw it on the IT website, and it's like, well, I don't want to buy a foundation brush. And so I started out using my sponge. It's so dirty and so ugly right now. And it wasn't blending right. It was streaky. It was splotchy. It just was not okay. So I switched because the foundation brush came in the set when I got these. And so I was like, well, okay, I'm going to go ahead and try it. And yeah, so it definitely blends much better with a foundation brush. I'm going to change brushes and blend this a little bit more together. This is one of my most favorite brushes. For anyone of you who have known me for a while, I talk about this brush. It is the IT Cosmetics, the 211 all over brush. And I have found that if you're ever in a situation where, you know, it's just not blending right, you can use this, just go all over, and it just makes things look a lot more smooth. You can use it for a powder brush, but I definitely like it better as just like an all over blending brush. Alright, so I am satisfied with how bronzed up I am. I'm not going to go over the top today. Don't really have much to do other than homework and take lunch to my other half. So moving along to blush. I received this in my Ipsy bag here. Well, the Glam Bag Plus a few months ago, and I hadn't tried it yet. And the colors, the color choices are actually really pretty. And so I think I'm gonna go with this Altheta is what I'm gonna call it. It looks more my speed. Oscalia is pretty close. This Dauphine, I might be able to get away with that as like a more of a bronzer, because it's got more of that earthier tone. But anyways, moving right along, I did get some questions about credentialing. What's my educational background? You are going to die, because I am actually in school for logistics management. I have no beauty degrees. I did go to school for cosmetology when I was like 20, but didn't graduate. I was pregnant with my 17-year-old, and the smell of perm solution made me sick. Now, some of you may ask about this technique, what I'm doing with my blush. A lot of people do the whole smile and put their blush on, but do you walk around like that all day? No. So when you relax your muscles, this goes down here, and then your blush can potentially drag down your face. I actually got that as a tip watching Tarte, and I started doing that, and it actually, I like it a lot better. Cannot decide if I actually like this blush though. We shall see. And the best part about blush is that if you put too much on, you can still, you know, blend over the top of it a little bit and tone it down, which I understand the colors on what you guys are seeing are a lot different than what I'm seeing, but we're working on that. We're working on the technical stuff. Alright, so last, this was actually really, really cute. I ordered some stuff right around Mother's Day from Cover FX, and they had place any order and you get this highlighting bar for free. You guys know from previous videos that I like Cover FX. But this is the Rose Gold Bar Highlighting Palette. The colors are 24 karat gold, white gold, and rose gold. Now, I don't typically lean towards these warmer toned bronzers. I usually like the pink tones. But for some reason, that warm tone one actually is speaking to me today. So, we're going to dip in here. I have not used this before, so we're going to see what it's all about. Alright. Going back to questions. I have not forgotten. I know my ADHD gets in the way sometimes. Ooh, that's really pretty. My ADHD gets in the way, but I have not forgotten why we are here. So moving along, no, I don't have any credentials. I don't have any type of degree in beauty. This is just something that I love. Now this ties into another question that I was sent, is what made me decide to start a YouTube channel? Well, it's pretty simple. I have been, in essence, reviewing products for a long time. My friends come to me and ask, hey, what's your thought on this? What's your thought on that? Because I do a lot of research. I research most things that I wear, buy. I research companies. I know if I like a company or not. Hit that a little bit hard right there. And so I do a lot of background. I do a lot of digging. And I thought, why not? I am not a social person by any means. And when I say that, I mean, friends, sound off in the comments. Am I social? No. But the career field that I'm in school for, you need to be at least somewhat social. And so, on top of everything else, I'm doing this so that I can improve my ability to speak in front of people. And yes, you guys are not in front of me in person, but it's going to help me in the long run. And, I mean, I love makeup. That's not ever going to change. So, that is what made me get started. So, I'm going to go ahead and prime my eyelids real quick, and then I'm going to get into this super deep question, which honestly, I'm glad that it was asked, but it's a hard thing for me to talk about, which that's not a bad thing either, because the stigma with so many things is that if you don't talk about it, then it just kind of builds up that stigma, if that makes any sense. I was asked, what is the hardest thing that I've ever had to overcome? Some of you watching this may have known me since childhood. Some of you may have met me here recently. But my mom was a very interesting individual. She wanted to live vicariously through me. Her dream in life was to model and be a cheerleader and, do all of these things, to be out there in the limelight. And when she was in high school, she was dropped during a, what do they call it? A stunt. And she broke her wrists and her jaw. Needless to say, she couldn't cheer anymore. And so because of that, she kind of put it on me that was what she wanted from me. From a very, very young age, I was, she put me as, in and rodeo pageants. I was a little junior rodeo queen, stuff like that. When I got older, she put me into modeling. It was all local stuff, but she pushed me into modeling. And then she tried to get me to be a cheerleader. What comes with that life, especially during the time period, like in the, in the 60s and 70s, when she was in cheerleading, or that was her dream, things were a lot different. People were a lot different. If you gained 5 pounds, they weren't going to publicly shame you for it. Whereas in the 90s, they absolutely did. And so starting when I was 13, is when I started starving myself. My parents started to notice, and so at home, I would binge and purge. This went on until I was 27. That I was both anorexic and bulimic. And that is a really, 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 really hard thing to move past. To this day, there are times when I struggle with my weight. Like, I have extra weight right now that I would love to get rid of. But the thing is that it's there, it's part of me. The older you get, the harder it is to get rid of extra weight. Your body changes as women. And I mean, for those of you who know me, you know about all the surgeries that I've had to have, things like that, these things change your genetic makeup. It makes it harder to lose weight. And I am not going to go back to starving myself. I am not going to go back to binging and purging, but there are days when it's just like, it's really, really hard that I have to remind myself, hey girl, have you eaten? Especially when because I'm bipolar. And, when you're in your manias, you're in your depression, you, in a lot of ways, you're kind of doing the same thing where you're starving yourself or you're binging. You're not necessarily purging, but you may be binge eating to eat away your feelings. And so I feel that on so many levels. But it's a struggle, but it's a worthy struggle. Alright, so moving on. So I prepped my eyelids. Like, I was going to try to keep up with you guys so you know what I'm using, but kind of got stuck there for a minute. I prepped my eyelids. I love Max Painterly Paint Pot. It's a really, really good base that if you have a lot of veins in your eyelids, things like that, that it really just it just cancels it out. And I really enjoy that. And like I said, I'm not really doing anything major as far as my makeup today. I'm using this Violet Voss Pro palette that I got from Boxy Luxe. I think that was in December. I hadn't used it yet. This is the first time I've used it, so I'm just going to blend a little bit into the crease and see where this eye look takes us, because the colors in here are not what I would normally choose, which is why I picked it up. Because let's face it, sometimes she boring, she basic. Let's just throw it out there. But oh, here's a question. How many of you are going to be in that madness today for the Jeffree Star summer collection launch? I'm not, obviously, for a couple of reasons. One, being a college student is, means that you kind of poor. But two, it didn't really, grabbed my attention. Like, Blue Blood absolutely grabbed my attention. Why? I don't know. What in the hell do I need a palette with that much blue eyeshadow? Like, I'll be honest, and I'm not even being funny. I was like, is it the 80s all over again that we need this much blue eyeshadow? Like, what the crap? And all the neons. Like, somebody please tell me that you have noticed the same thing. Like, all of the neons. Like, Huda has one, and then, of course, Jeffrey's palette. I mean, his colors are usually bright anyways. Like, the Thirsty palette from last summer is one of my absolute favorites. But there's colors in there that I will probably never use. Like the yellow, yeah, no. She too pale for that. So yeah. Now, since I'm recording with my phone, I would have gotten on Instagram and said, hey, I'm getting ready, what's your questions? But, you know, we haven't bought a webcam yet. There's one I'm looking at and just trying to make sure that I get something that is good enough that it's going to last me for a while, because like I said, I'm in college. I don't have money to replace it all the time. I was hoping that my digital camera would do what I need it to, and I still don't understand that. One time it cut off at like 12 minutes, and the next time it cut off at like 17 minutes, and there's no logical thing there. I can't fathom it. I looked at how many gigs, the file size, and it's not even that they were similar file sizes and it cuts off at a certain time. So, I don't know. Alright. Check, make sure that these are even. Now, the funny part about this shade is it's actually called Transition. So, trying to decide where I want to go, because I mean, ironically, I'm wearing blue today, and yet I'm going to do something warm, maybe to offset this crap weather that we've had here in Tennessee. Hopefully that the weather acts right tomorrow, because yes, go ahead and laugh at me, I am going to a polo match. I can hear Keith now just dying, because he's like, what would you go to a polo match for? So I can say I went to one. Just saying. But it's a hot air balloon festival and everything else, so I'm like super pumped about that. Okay, so I am satisfied with the blend. Like, this builds beautifully. The blend is amazing. Just making sure that it's even. I have a light over here, I have a light in front of me. Like, this is insane. And unfortunately, they're two separate tones. One is cool tone, one's warm toned. Okay. Anyways, so I think we're going to go into this shade called Brownie Point. Same brush, just go a little bit lower on the crease, because I'm going to do something pretty simple today. And I say that now, and watch, I'm going to be like full-blown smoky eye here in a little while, because I say that every time. But those of you who follow me on Instagram, if you don't follow me on Instagram, I put up a lot of stuff, a lot of information about things that I am trying, things that are in the works. I put up a lot of questions as far as what do you want to see is content. I am better at checking my messages on Instagram than I am anywhere else. But for those of you who don't follow me, I'm just going to put this out there real quick. I am trying out some new serums. Not anything that I got in Boxy not yet, because I've had this stuff longer. I try to use product in the order of which that I purchased it. And this brush is shedding everywhere. That sucks, because I like this brush. Okay. How does it not have a number on it? Morphe brushes always have a number on them. That's weird. But anyways, I am trying out some skincare. It's from a company called Good Molecules. And oh my lord. So first off, it's cheap. Like, the 3 items that I'm testing out cost me $20. And they're serums. I'm actually going to grab them out of my fridge here real quick. I wasn't going to at first, and then I'm like, no, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to talk about these just real quick. So there is the Wake Up Eye Serum. There is the Niacinamide Serum. And then the Hyaluronic Acid Serum. Let's turn that the right way. The niacinamide and the hyaluronic acid reached $6 on Beautylish. The Wake Up Eye Serum was $8. What they're good for. So the Wake Up Eye Serum has caffeine and pumpkin extract. It's for brightening, depuffing, things like that. Niacinamide is good for improving texture of your skin and uneven skin tone, which so far, now I'm not going to say go out and buy it and stuff like that, that it's on the yes list. Which, by the way, what do you guys think about that? Call it, Jeffree Star approved. What do you think about the yes list? But anyways, so far, I have actually noticed a difference in the overall texture of my skin. Like, I didn't have to use anywhere near as much Pore Filling Primer today as I normally do. I actually didn't have to use as much concealer either, to think about it. Like, my under eye is doing all right, and I mean, I slept crappy last night. So, yeah, this stuff might be the real deal. It's a Korean brand, so we know that K-beauty has been a real big deal here in the States. So, I know I just gave you guys a preview of what the upside of my nose looks like, but trying to see from every angle. I know that that's not professional, but I really like this eyeshadow. The clean brush, blend. In case you guys can't tell, I like Morphe brushes. This is from the Jaclyn Hill collection, and oh my god, I almost don't want to mention that name on my channel because of how much crap that she's been in, and how much crap that she's in currently. Like, you guys ever reach a point where you're kind of sorry for her? I mean, I am and I'm not. I struggle with that part. It's just like, she should have known better, but then again, she's brand new to having her own brand. So, alright, a little bit more of that transition shade on there, which I think it's hilarious that the name of it is transition. Bring this all together. I think that we are going to be just about done with the eyeshadow because, yeah. Alright, so as far as a light color that I could put towards the inner eye. I'm really looking at this toffee shade right here. And I'm going to see how this does with a brush. If it doesn't, I am no stranger to digging my fingers into a palette. Need a good flat brush, not a tiny one though. Where's my flat brushes? That'll work. Alright, so toffee. Okay. So this formula seems to work well with a brush, which is nice because there's so many like metallic kind of shades that are not okay with brushes. They don't work well with brushes, and so then you have to pack it on with your finger. So I wish I had some more questions from you guys. I'm trying to think if there's other things that I've forgotten, things that I would just tell you regardless. Other than follow me on my other social media, because I don't always post on YouTube. I'm working on being better at that, but it is a work in progress. But I do post a lot on Instagram, and then my my Facebook page, Coffee and Mascara. So if I don't post on Instagram, I'm posting there. Oh my goodness, this is the wrong time for my eye to itch. But I'm gonna hurry up and finish this eye look, and girl, she needs coffee at this point. And I should have been drinking it, and it's probably cold at this point, which that's really gonna suck. Who here hates reheating their coffee? Oh, and you know what? That's a question I have for y'all. Recommend some coffee to me. Because so I do better with light blends, like the blonde roast, stuff like that. Those do better for me for whatever reason. I mean, I used to be able to drink like Cafe Verona, which is like one of the darkest roasts from Starbucks, and now I can barely do like blonde roast. So if you know of any like other coffees that I guess you'd say easier on your stomach but still have a good flavor, let me know. I've been drinking, I like Community Coffee, and then there's this one from Green Mountain, the breakfast blend. I really enjoy both of those. Like, it's a medium roast coffee, but it's still like got a good flavor. So if there's any other ones that you would recommend to me, let me know. And I'm just gonna do a little pop of brightness, which I won't get from this palette. I'm going to the Cover FX palette. And do the same shade that I used to used as a highlight. Pop that in the inner corner. And I promise, guys, I'm working on the lighting thing. Like, I was actually, of all places, I was on Groupon this morning looking at umbrella lighting. They actually had some pretty darn good deals on it. Alright, so that finishes today's eye look. I'm not going to keep you guys around while I do like mascara and lips and stuff like that. I will put it all in the comments, or I should say in the description bar of everything that I am wearing today. But stick around. I am going to be doing a giveaway sometime here in the near future. I've been collecting together some of my favorite items. Some of them are just from my favorite brands. There's going to be some Jeffree Stars, some Wet n Wild, some Soap and Glory, things that are among my favorites, and I will be doing a giveaway. Now, please don't be upset, anybody who's international, since I am doing this myself. It is going to need to be a, it's not an international giveaway. It will just be in the United States, but I will work towards an international giveaway. I will have details coming up soon, but just keep watching. I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.